Hello and welcome to another episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, an initiative by ET Edge. I am Ashwani Mishra, bringing to you conversations with CXOs over a cup of chai as we try to discover interesting insights into their personal and professional journey over the years, key lessons learned, their leadership traits, hobbies, and other such engaging topics. I have been joined by a very special guest today, a seasoned business leader with more than 30 years of experience in the natural food and supplement ingredient space, and currently the executive chairman and managing director at OmniActive Health Technologies. It is a pleasure to have Mr. Sanjay Mariwala on the show. Welcome, Sanjay.
Thank you, Ashwini. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to host you, Sanjay. Thank you so much for your time. Sanjay, let's begin with how did you discover and align yourself with the larger purpose in life? Can you share a couple of defining moments that have shaped you and made you what you are today?
Yeah, it's a great question. I love answering that question whenever people have asked me that question. And I also ask that question many times when I talk to a few youngsters.
Right.
I ask them that there are two very important days in your life. What are those? Okay. One, everybody gets it right. The second one, nobody gets it right. The first one is when you were born. Okay. The second one, most people say, is when something happened to me, or I got married, or when I die, whatever, strange things.
Right.
Me, the second question is when you discover what you're born for. What is the purpose of your existence?
Very true. Yes.
And I think this is something that evolves over a period of time. It depends. Some people get it early, some people get it late. I kind of discovered this when I first tasted blood doing business, and I said, I'm cut out for business, and that's what I'm born for, and that's what I'm here for, and I enjoy doing business, and that's why I thought it's good to be in business, and I enjoy what I'm doing.
True. Yes. Right. So, again, the secret recipe for success, Sanjay, is your own creation, right? It's self-manufactured and for your consumption only. The circumstances in our lives are uniquely different from anyone else, and there is no fit for all formula. What
There
have
is no
been
formula. Absolutely correct. You just have to do it yourself in terms of what makes you happy, what makes you satisfied.
right? So, what have been your ingredients, Sanjay, for success all over all these years?
So to me, the most important thing in life is about doing something that you have fun with. If you don't enjoy it, you shouldn't do it. Okay. You
Right.
should do things that you are passionate about. You should do things that you are passionately involved in and you can go deep into. Because only when you go deep into a subject can you really make an impact and a difference.
True. Yes.
And when you make an impact and a difference, you can leave a little dent in the universe somewhere in the world. Okay. And that's the purpose of existence, is what I believe my existence is all about. Let's leave a little dent in the universe. When we are born with a purpose, and God has given us that purpose to do. And if we can you can live that purpose and create a little dent, somebody remembers you for what you've done. That's, I think,
That's
a
the
great way
impact
to
that you've.
go. Yeah.
Right. 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 What has been your leadership style, Sanjay? How do you lead and inspire your team?
So there are different people respond to me differently. I suppose there are people who will tell you many stories, but I think I have generally been a type of a leader where I give, when you build trust with me, I give you a lot of freedom to operate. I give my people a lot of room to do their own thing, and I try to hire the best in the world and keep them with me as long as they can work with me. People have worked with me for anywhere between 5 years to 25 years, and I have not
Right.
had. There are times when you also find out that some people do a great job for a period of time. They live for that purpose, and the purpose is served. They carry on, which is fine. Which is, you can't hang on to people forever in your lives. Okay, and that's the kind of leader I am. I tend to bring in people and I change them when we think there is a need to change.
True. Yes. Yes. And have you also kept your critics close to you, Sanjay?
So I have a very effective board of directors. So they don't they don't criticize me. They critique me. Okay,
Right.
and they look at my operating styles and my results, and they keep pushing me to produce better results. So that's a good thing to have a nice effective board. We are not a listed company, but we still have a very well governed board and a well managed board practices. We meet 4 times at least a year, if not more, and they make sure that I'm on my toes all the time.
Right. Right. Sanjay, you are also a golfer, and
Absolutely right.
and in golf, one needs to visualize a shot before they play it. Have you adopted this strategy in your role as a business leader as well?
Absolutely correct.
Are you
Like
continuously visualizing the big?
golf is my inspiration for also business. You are absolutely right, and for life. I try to visualize what I want to do and how I want to do it. What will it look like? What kind of flight will it take, and how will it land? And I make sure that I do that. So when I built OmniActives, I took 2 years to visualize what the company is going to look like, what it is going to do, how it is going to operate, what's going to be its culture, and what's going to be its operating competence levels. And then we built the company. It was designed from scratch.
Right, right. And Sanjay, again, you've been passionate about business. You've been there for almost close to 4 decades now.
Right.
There's also a old Chinese proverb that says, when you play a game, you need to decide three things at the very beginning itself: the rules, the stakes, and the moment to stop. Well,
Yeah.
business is certainly not a game. Having said this, can it be really damaging for a business leader to be too emotionally attached to his company or business? What are your views on that?
Well, I have my own strong views on this. I believe that you should not be emotionally attached to any business. You should apply passion to everything you do, but passion doesn't mean that the business has to belong to you and that you belong to the business. You need to have a balance of life, first of all. So your work-life balance has to be well set. You can't be only work, 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 and no life with family and friends.
Fence,
This
right?
is important. For me, for example, Saturday afternoons are sacrosanct. You can't find me anywhere at work. I'm always on the golf course.
Okay, okay,
Okay. That's a must do. So these are little things in life you cut out for yourself. You have to have time for yourself, and you have time to read. You have to time to catch up with, take some small holidays, take a walk in the forest. Okay. My second big passion is wildlife and wildlife photography. So I take out time twice or thrice a year to make sure I visit a game park or the other somewhere in the world, most times in India, sometimes outside of India. And I take lots of pictures and I enjoy taking pictures of animals.
okay, okay.
So you have to cut out that time. The second thing
Understood.
is you can't be devoted to only one business and stay that it's my business, I've created it and I can't let go of it. When it comes time that you are creating value and you're at the top, maybe you want to sell the business and you want to do something new. As an entrepreneur, you have to constantly think of new ideas and new ways of generating employment and wealth. And that's really what I do. I consider myself a serial entrepreneur in that sense.
Right, right. So you answered my next question. So any hobbies and interests? So you've touched upon golf, you've touched upon those aspects as well.
Right.
Uh, how have you tackled the issues of people being very instantaneously judgmental, Sanjay? Any such instances that you've faced in your
Yeah,
career?
it happens all the time. People generally tend to be very, very. You see, people come up with their judgments based on their experiences.
Right,
Okay, um, I have had many people who have worked for me who come up with instant judgment on X, Y, or Z. Maybe an investor, maybe a potential partner that we talk to, maybe a vendor or a customer. Sometimes people come and say, "नहीं ये vendor ठीक नहीं दिखता है sir. Why are you insisting we talk to them? Or
right,
why is he here? Why should we be talking to them? Or this competitor does not feel right. You can't trust him." And I always say, guys, give the other person benefit of the doubt first. Okay. If there is doubt, it will surface immediately over a period of time. Interact with the person a little more. Try to put yourself in his shoes and understand him better. Okay.
right.
Understand first before you are being understood.
True. Yes, yes. That's
That's
very
the
important.
principle I follow, and I've tried to coach my team to do that well. And most people come back and tell me, Sanjay, this has been one of the few lessons we have learned from you, and I hope that they continue to follow that process. Most do once they've learned to work with me.
So you also, wear the hat of a mentor, for the younger
Yeah, that's
generation.
that's a critical role to play. And when you're the head of a business, one of the things you do is when you want to build a solid team, I think what you need to do is to mentor your people and guide them, and then leave them to do what they think is the right thing to do. So you don't have to necessarily direct them. You need to just set them a goal and teach them how to achieve it, and then they go out and make it happen. And then set expectations which are lofty and big, hairy, audacious goals. then most ordinary people will go out and perform extraordinary tasks and make things happen for you.
True. Yes. What is that one thing that you've missed out in this professional journey, Sanjay? Any regrets that you hold?
I don't believe so that there are any regrets. I would say perhaps the regret can only be that maybe I could have started many more businesses much earlier. I don't know. I just enjoy the business, so I feel maybe I could have started one or two more businesses maybe a little earlier. But that's not a regret.
I know, right?
There is a very interesting saying in Gujarati, which is what I follow as a language at home. But that is "Jagya Tarthi Sawar," which is the minute you wake up is morning.
Right, right. Right. One question that I had for the healthcare industry, Sanjay, I thought of asking that to you. Now, the
Hey,
healthcare industry again is set for disruption and transformation. So, illness to wellness and sick care to preventive care, all these are going to take center stage.
yeah.
How do you see the opportunities for the nutraceutical industry that you belong to?
So that's a very interesting question because that's essentially what we are betting on as a company. And that's what we have done for the last maybe 15, 16 years. What we looked at was that we believed natural products, nutraceutical products from naturals will become the mainstay of a lot of therapies across the world. Primarily because they are preventives, they are not cures, and health costs are rising across the world, as you can see them.
Right.
And
Yes.
as the population increases and as the population's spending power increases, everybody is happy spending more money, but not necessarily they don't want to spend money on health issues. But
Right.
costs of healthcare are rising, insurance costs are rising. Okay, today we have limited insurance coverage in India for healthcare, but as you expand your healthcare coverage in India, you will find that the
Costs are
insurance
increasing.
premiums will rise. Okay,
True. Yes.
as you age, your insurance premium rises. As you get sicker, if somebody has blood pressure, then his insurance premium is higher than yours. Okay, somebody has a heart condition, his insurance premium goes up even further. So these things are always going to happen. So the advantage of our industry has been that it complements the mainstay industry.
Right.
We can't substitute one for the other, but we believe we are a very strong complement to the pharmaceutical industry, to say that we have complementary therapies which prevent and delay and the onset or occurrence or intensification of a condition before it being treated significantly in terms of operation or surgery or an intervention of some kind or strong drugs.
True. Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that we are going to find solutions for cancer
Solutions. Right.
and life-threatening diseases, but I'm talking about lifestyle diseases, which and are chronic conditions that we really can treat and help alleviate in some way to minimize the impact of.
Right. Right.
Which is
Right.
why this industry is going to grow and is going to grow well in future.
Right. Thank you, Sanjay. I think, before I wind up, I will request and invite Ashish as well in this
Sure,
conversation.
sure.
Yeah, Ashish, and I have a common question for both of you. What were some of the key challenges for your business last year, and how did you overcome them? And moving ahead, what are your key IT priorities? Digital priorities, IT priorities for 2021.
Yeah, you're talking about the COVID year.
Yes, last year.
So
Yes.
we had a very interesting year when we started the work, and we had a board meeting on March 15th, which was just around the time 20th, around the time when COVID stuck. Okay, and we were just all going into lockdown, and we had a board meeting, and three of my directors said, this is going to be the worst thing in the world, and you are going to die, and we are all going to suffer, and everything is going to be bad, and the world is going to come to an end. Okay, and we said, okay, let's prepare for the worst case scenario.
Right.
And in that time, we had a budget in hand, and then we looked at our budget and we said, okay, let's throw this budget out and let's recast our budgets. And we said we'll recast our budgets only for the first half of the year at 50% of its
Current.
potential, or
Right.
25. And we said 50% and 25%. And then we looked at the numbers from the point of view that if we achieve only 25% of our sales, what will happen? Let's cut our costs. Let's cut our numbers. Now we said, which costs are we going to cut? Are we going to do surgery, or are we going to just operate with cost tightening? We
Right.
said we are not going to do surgery. We are not going to let go of people. No, the board said, no, you need to get rid of people. You got to downsize completely. Everything is going to go bad. And I said, no, I had a faith in the feeling that it's not going to be that bad because we are in a good spot as an industry. Okay. I said, we are not going to do that. We are going to work on figuring out a solution to this. The first thing we did was we went and talked to the government and we got ourselves listed as an essential industry. Because we got ourselves listed as an essential industry, we operated throughout COVID full
Right.
plan, 100% of the capacity. Since we operated 100% of the capacity, we had some difficulties with shipping our product because of air freights, because the
True.
airlines had stopped number of
Right.
flights. The ships had started stopped calling, number of ships calling were less so. So we had logistics problems. But other than that, we virtually had no problems. We ran a task force which worked every day. I headed it, and every week we had a task force meeting. We called it a war room, COVID war room,
Right.
and we made it work. And we had the best year of our life, all of last
Right. And any IT priorities that you have, in terms of
year. So
investment, in
IT is
terms
a big one for us. We are struggling a little bit with our IT teams and our IT priorities. We have a SAP installed, but we are not using it well enough. I think we have. My expectation is we should be automated much more than we are right now. Our second major investment has been in a CRM, which we are starting to see some results of. But I believe that our IT digitization and our utilization of IT and automation of processes needs to get far more robust than it is today.
right, right. Yes, Ashish.
Yeah, so Ashwini, I think very, very thought-provoking and engaging conversation. I was listening to it, and congratulations, Sanjay, for having a fantastic year. I
Thank
think
you.
something similar at our end as well. I think around the 20th of March, all hell broke loose, kind of, because obviously we also had a year end, quarter end, and knowing how most of the sales organizations work in India, your billings are back ended.
That's correct.
Material is coming in, and suddenly we realized we couldn't bill anything. Right, so what was earlier on a pretty good last year obviously took a setback, and then the same thing with Sanjay narrated, everyone being pessimistic and all that stuff. But similar for us, we have had like one of the best years ever. As an IT industry, and particularly as Lenovo, we've grown leaps and bounds, and we have also learned a lot of things. I think prevalently what has happened in customers' mind, at least for IT, from an expense, it has become an investment because
That's correct.
people now see it necessary. Secondly, what we have also seen is earlier people used to be like IT used to be something which would maybe with the IT team only, but suddenly we saw MDs and CEOs being interested, and now we are seeing more and more engagement on a CXO level, because it's not only work from office or work from home. For us, it would slowly be work from everywhere and anywhere, kind of. And as Sanjay said, there is so much IT can do in terms of digitization, in terms of equipping. So we are definitely seeing people adopt it, the cultural mindset getting changed, and it's just been fantastic on that end. And I'll also like to, in fact, yeah, Sanjay, you wanted
I
to say
can I
something.
can vouch for it. I'll tell you, we bought 200 of Lenovo computers last year.
Okay.
I was in fact going to say that we have been working with Sanjay's team. The IT team is just great, and we underwent the same kind of logistics challenges. But I think teams worked with each other, engaged with each other to figure out what is the right solution, and we were able to deliver that. And I'm pretty sure that it would continue. The engagement will continue. Sanjay, before Ashwani maybe hands over the conversation for us on closed doors, I just wanted to ask one thing. You talked about the two important times in your life, being born and this when you. So when did you discover your purpose as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, and how did it come about?
So very interesting. I was that's a very interesting episode. I was given charge of a project in which we failed. Okay.
Hmm.
And we didn't do a good job of. And I was taught that having failed there and you invested money there, now figure out how to recover all the money that was invested in there, so that at the end the balance sheet is clean and we are whole in some way. So we had lost some money in operations, but we had a factory, we had machineries, and we had a land and everything. And we eventually, I was given the charge to close that down, get rid of all the labor, pay them off, complete the whole exit of a transaction, and sell the plant, sell the machinery, and sell the land, and recover money. And I came out, with 100% recovery, so that at the end, the profit and loss and the balance sheet tallied to say whatever we had lost was made up in the gains of the land deal that we made. And net we didn't lose a single paisa on this project. We learned something in 2 years, but at the end that came out okay. Now with that experience, my family gave me a responsibility to go to Cochin and run a company in Cochin. Okay. And that company was not running very well. The business was not doing well. And I was asked to go and take it over. And the first day when I got to Cochin, it was, Kerala had that militant labor unions, and I was get out when they were on strike that day, and I was get out for 24 hours, and I was 26 years old. Okay, that time I was get out for 24 hours, and I slept through that get out the whole night. Okay, these guys were making sounds, they were making noises, they were trying to wake me up, but I slept through it completely.
Wow.
My goodness.
At the end of it, maybe 2 years later, we figured out that the union and at the factory had virtually disbanded. We had great relationship. We built up a solid communication. We got rid of excess people, and despite that, and increased productivity, everybody gained. They got more wages, and everybody won. And this was in 2006 or something like that. Till now, we haven't had a single day's production break in that company. 365 days we work. People keep asking me that question, saying, "How did you manage labor in Kerala?" And I said, "It's easy. It's not a problem." That day is when I discovered that I'm capable of sorting out these issues, and I think that's what business is all about. It's solving problems. Business is all about solving problems, whether it's customers' problems or your problems or your employees' problems. It's all about solving problems.
Absolutely.
Very well said, Sanjay. Simple things, but really effective that way.
That's right.
Right. Thank you, Ashish. And I think I'll wind this up. Thank you, Sanjay. I stand immensely inspired through this conversation with you.
Thank you so much. I had a
And
wonderful time talking to you.
thank you for sharing your views with us on Cutting Chai Stories.